So subnetting is a way of creating smaller networks from a parent network by modifying the subnet mask, modifying the default subnet mask. How do we modify the subnet mask? By borrowing bits from the host ID. Now, I want to use class C as a case study. This IP address 192.168.1.0 is a class C IP or a class C network address. So I need to know how many we are here. Who is coming and going?
Hello.
Okay, Amika, you are the one, right?
Sorry, it was network is cutting me off.
Okay, all right.
Good evening, sir.
So, yeah, good evening. Please, I've treated this topic with you before. I'm kind of
Okay.
trying to kind of
Advice.
do a revision. Yes. So,
Uh,
where we are is network initial configuration. And that is where the last thing we treated, though we just came back to this. So you're on the same page with this section.
okay.
This one is kind of a revision. Okay. To continue with what we have, I was talking about um, IP subnetting. And I said that IP subnetting is a concept of creating smaller networks from a parent network by modifying the subnet mask. How do we modify the subnet mask? When we borrow bit from the host ID. This is a subnet mask. Here is subnet. That is 255.255.255. Although this is the address, this is a subnet mask. This is 255.255.255. So, of course, here is our host ID. This is our network ID. So this is normal um, default network address for class C. Now, if you want to now subnet, we'll subnet by first, no, you can borrow bit. You can see that from here, we borrowed bit. We borrowed one. You know that this side is for the host. This is the network. Network was supposed to be 24, 24 bits. That's why I will have 24 here. If you count distance, this is 8 plus 8 plus 8. That is 24 prefix length. Now we decided to borrow. This is where for class C, this is where default subnet mask ended. We now decided to borrow something from the where that does not concern us, that is from the host side to join to what we have. So we borrow one bit from the host side to join to 24 that we have. We now have 25 prefix length. And whenever you borrow one, if you borrow one, you're going to have two networks. You're going to result in having two networks. So now, how do we know that we are going to have two networks? Give me some time, let me bring out something out. How do we know we are going to have two networks? Is by hold on, coming. Okay, here. How do we know? Now, here at this particular record level, this is the host ID 8, where I've never done anything. I didn't borrow anything. That's host ID here. I've never borrowed anything. So when I've never borrowed anything, that is, I never borrowed anything. The host ID number is still 8 in number. The number of network I will get from that If I've never borrowed, then it's still one network, because if this is the network address, you can only use it only in one network. Then you can, from here, you can now still have .1, .2, .3, .4, and all of that. It's only one network you can form with it, but multiple hosts. Okay. Now we decided to borrow 1 bit. That is S. That's this. We borrowed 1. If you borrow 1, how many bits will be remaining when you borrow 1? They are 8 in number. If you borrow 1, it will be remaining 7. So the number of network we are going to get is going to be 2 raised to power the number that we borrowed, which we borrowed 1. We're going to have 2 networks. Then if we borrowed 2, that is 2. We borrowed 2. The host ID bit will remain 6. So the number of network we are going to get when we borrow 2 bits is going to be 2 raised to power the 2 that we borrowed. It's going to give us 4. Then here we borrow 3. See 3. It's remaining 5, the host bit. So the number of networks is going to be 2 raised to power the 3 that we borrowed. So we have 8. Then coming to this particular one, the number of valid IP address or the number of hosts. You know that this network as it is now, its normal default is /24. That's the prefix length or subnet ID. The number of hosts or number of valid IP address you can get in it is 254. 254. It is what we did one time. Let me see, bring it up. It's 254. So this is class C. So the number of hosts or valid IP address you can get per network is going to be 2 raised to the power 8 minus 2. The 2 raised to the power 8 is the host ID, the number of host ID. 8 in number minus 2. You're going to get 254. The same thing is applicable to what we are doing here. The number of hosts or valid IP address is going to be 2 raised to the power how many that is remaining, which is 7. We took 1, remaining 7. Here is 2 raised to the power 8 minus 2. We have that's the default. That is, here is 2 raised to the power 8 minus 2. That's for this side. When it was still default, still the same 254. This one is 2 raised to the power 7 minus 2. It's going to give us 126. That is this. Then the next one, the valid IP address or number of hosts is still going to be 2 raised to the power what is remaining, which is 6. Remove this 6 minus 2. It's going to give us, sorry, it's going to give us, is this, it's going to give us 62. That's how other one goes. So here I only have one network. Here I'm going to have 2 networks, and the 2 networks is going to be network 1 and network 2. The network 1, if I'm using this as my case study, network 1 is going to be 192.168.1.0 slash, the subnet ID now is 25. You understand? It's /25. Or maybe I need to create a new board so that I can make this thing clearer. Let me make this thing clearer with the new board. Sorry, I'm coming. Okay. So I'm sharing this again. So if I borrowed 1, it's going to be I'm going to have network 1 and network 2. So the first network is going to be 192.168.1.0. Since I borrowed 1, so adding to 24, I'm going to have 25 as my subnet ID or prefix length. So valid IP addresses are going to be 192.168.1.1. I can have .2, .3 till I was told that if I have borrowed 1, I'm going to have how many number of values per network? 126. Look at it here. I'm going to have 126 if I have borrowed 1. So it means that here I'm going to have from 1 to 126 as valid IP address, meaning that 127 is my broadcast address. You know that here when we did 192.168.1.0 .1.0/24. When we had this before, the valid IP addresses are 192.168.1.1.2.3 till 254. Then 255 is our broadcast address. The same thing with this one. We are supposed to have valid IP addresses that are 126. So the next one is 127, which is supposed to be the broadcast address. And normally in such network, here is supposed to be your gateway, the first valid IP address. Supposed to be your gateway, or the last one. Under the first valid IP address or the last one. The last one is 126. So it depends on your choice. So this is the first network. Now this is a network address, not an IP address. So the second network is going to start running from 192.168.128/25. Now this is stuff 27. So this one will now be valid IP address will now start running for 192.168.1.129. So this one is supposed to be my gateway.
You can't see your second screen.
My second screen. This is what I'm sharing.
It's network delay.
Sorry? Hello?
It's delayed.
Okay. Oh, sorry.
It's
Maybe.
been delayed. I can see.
Okay. Well, because of network. So, this one is the gateway is supposed to be my first one. So I will now start having 130, 131 till 254. So 255 is the broadcast for this network. So in this case now, if I'm creating a network, I have router here and I have a switch, for instance, and I have another network here. So this place, I will have computers. Here I will have computers. So this place now, if I set up a network like this using this subnet, I'll call this one my network 1 and call this one network 2. That means in this case now, I'm using what I have on my network 1 on this side. So on network 1, what should be my gateway? This is the gateway. Here is the gateway to network 1. So what should be the gateway here? What should I put there as my IP address? I'm asking all of us. So
192.168.1.129.
yes, here is supposed to be 1.1. Then here is supposed to be 192.168.1.129, the first valid one. So I can start giving IP addresses here. Maybe here I can take .2, this one can take .3, .4, till I have a possibility of using till 126 on this network. Then this network, I can give, since I've given 129 here, I can have 130 to this one, 131 to this one, 132 to this one, and the rest. Now, this network this network 1, if network 1 wants to do a broadcast, what they will use is going to be 192.168.1.127. That's the broadcast address for these people. If anybody here wants to run a broadcast, it's going to send 192.168.1.255 this. So I've succeeded in creating 2 networks because I subnetted. You understand? Okay, let's borrow 3. Let's try to see how we can borrow 3. Um, Let me borrow 3. Come in. So, who left? Someone left. Oh, okay. So, if I borrow 3, like, if I borrow 3, so if I borrow 2 bits, how many networks am I going to get? 4 networks. And each of the networks will contain 62 valid IP addresses. Is there on the board? So now let's try to work out that. So if I borrow 2 bits, I'm going to have network 1, network 2, network 3, and network 4. So the first network is going to be 192.168.1. I'm using this as a case study. .0 slash, I borrowed is going to be 26. So the first IP address is going to be .1, which I'm supposed to give to the gateway. I have .2 till, since they say I have up to 62. So 63 is the broadcast address for this network. So the next network will now be 192.168.1.64 now slash 26. So the first valid IP address in this one will be 65, which I'm supposed to give to my gateway. I have 66 till 126. As if I count from here, 65, 66, 67, 68, if I count up to 62 cases or 62 options, I will get to 126. So 127 is their broadcast address. So network 3 would now start from 192.168 dot 1.128. Of course, I'm still using subnet ID as that. So I'm going to have 129 as the first valid IP address, which I'm supposed to assign to my gateway. I have 130 till 190. That is the 62 options. Then 191 is supposed to be my broadcast address. So the last one, which is network 4, will start counting from 192.1.1.192.
Is it 190 or 180?
190. 190, sir. If you count from 129,
No,
130,
we're
130,
adding 62
we're adding 64.
to 129.
Yes, don't worry. I'll come back to that. You know, there's some people that are not. I didn't teach this way, so I'll come back to that where you're going to, so that I didn't ask any question. I'll come back to that. When I finish this, I'll come back to that. So the valid IP address is 193, which is supposed to get to a till the very last network is supposed to have broadcast as 255. Is broadcast address. Okay, now when you look at this place, what we counted that was that each of the networks
Each of,
is supposed to
yes,
carry
this is
62 valid IP
host.
address. So that's what we are trying to do. You see this particular one now. This place is the network address. We don't use it. This
Yeah,
one is
yes,
broadcast. We don't use it. That is almost the two that we are subtracting.
yes.
So what is remaining will be 1, 2, 3, 40, 62. Now, the same thing would do if here ended with broadcast at 63. So the next network address is 64, and the rest, and the rest. So how will you? There's a way I normally calculate this so that we make mistake. If I have 1.0 here, the next one is going to be 2 raised to the power 6. What is remaining? No, I
Exactly.
borrowed 2. If I borrow
Yes.
2, what is remaining is 6. What is remaining is 6. So 2 raised to the power 6 is 64. So I'll just be adding multiple of 64s. 0.64 here is 64 here. 64 plus 64, 128. 128 plus 64, 192. So since I have 64 here, that means my broadcast here is -1, which is 63.
It's correct. It's correct.
So if I have 128 here, broadcast here are going to
Addition
be
is correct.
-1. If I have 192 here, so broadcast here is going to be 191. So if I get the MAC address, if I get network addresses and broadcast addresses, so I'll be able to know what are the valid IP addresses. So this is the way you can actually calculate your valid IP addresses per network. So in this case, I can have 4 networks following something like this. This, that, that, and that. So this is a network. This is another local network. This is another local network. Could be another local network. So this particular network, maybe network 1, their gateway is going to be .1. I can start giving other ones their normal IP addresses. This one, network 2, their gateway is supposed to be 65. That is .65, which is this. So I can start giving 66, 67, 68 to other users. Here, network 3, this is network 1, network 2, network 3. Gateway is I can give it 129. So 130, 131, the rest. The same goes for other ones. So this is the way we subnet. Now, if I subnet, if I borrow 3, I'm going to have how many networks? 8 networks. So if I'm using this, 192.168.1.0 as a case study. So I borrowed 3, so it's going to be 2 raised to power 24 plus 3, 27. So this one will be my first network. The second network is supposed to be 1 dot what? I'm using multiple of 5. As in 5 is remaining, so 2 raised to power 5 is 32. So the next network is 32. The next network, that is 32 slash 27. The next network is going to be 64 slash 27. The next network, I think 96 slash 27. So if you get that, that means if I have 32 here, so that is broker's address for this paper is going to be what? 31. So between 0 and 31 are the valid IP address for this network. This one is going to be 63 broadcasts. Here is going to be 95 broadcasts. So between that and that is where we have our valid IP addresses. If you don't want to use this method, you can also say 2 raised to power 8 is going to give me what? 2256. Abi? So here, I borrowed 1. How many networks am I going to get? 2 networks. So I just do divided by 2. So the first network is going to be 1.026. So the next network is going to be 1.128. That's what we did before, because if you divide this, you're going to have 128. So the same goes for so I'm coming. I have limited time now. Sorry, I'm coming. Hold on. Classless. Hold on. Please hold on. I'm coming. Okay. Hold on, please. I'm coming. Trying to figure out something. Classless. IP classless. Okay. IP classless. Okay, if you don't want to do that case, you can say, like now, if I borrow 2 here, I can have 2 raised to the power 8 is equals to what? 256. So 256 divided by the number of network I have. When I borrow 2, it's going to be 4. So this is going to be how what? 64. So I know I'll be doing multiple of 64 slash 20 26. So the next network is going to be 1.64 as we did before, slash 26. The next network 1 dot plus 64 again, 128 slash 26. If you don't want to follow the framework method I gave us before, you can use this one. So the former method I gave was, see the former method. You can use this one or that one. So this one is just, I borrowed 2, making it slash 26.
You are adding the 2 to the other side.
So if I borrowed 2, 2 raised to power 6, that is remaining, is 64. So I'll be doing
64.
multiple of 64, 64, 64. That means 64 here plus another 64 you have here. And that's 64. If you had borrowed 3, if you borrowed 3, that means it's remaining how many? 5. So you'll be having multiple of 32, 32, 32, 32, 32. So as soon as you get your network, you should subtract 1 and then get the broadcast of the smaller or previous network like that. That's how you now get your valid IP address per network. So I want us to take our time to master this. This is just all about subnetting. It's just all about subnetting. So except you have any question. If you don't have any question, I might need to show you
Oh, is it the same thing? Is it the same method we use for the other 2 classes?
no. Okay, I will talk about how to use it for other 2 classes. That is for
Okay.
class.
Sorry, other 2 classes or 4 classes?
No, other 2 classes, I think what he meant was class A
A
and
and
B.
B.
Yeah. I only
Yes.
use, yes, I only use class C here. I subnetted using class C. So I will need to show you how to do it with other classes like class A and class B. It's a different way, kind of. So I will show that one in the next section because I don't have much time now. So do you have any other question? I just want to assume that you've understood it because I've taught this thing before.
Yeah, please. Please, you started from 24. What's the meaning of that now? Why are we starting from 24 ports?
We are starting from 24 because I just decided to use, um, I'm coming, I want to bring out something for you. I want to use default subnet mask. Sorry, sorry, I've closed it. Let me open it again. I'm coming. Hold on, I'm coming. Time, oh, okay. I think I've seen it. Okay. You know why I decided to use class 24? I just decided to use class C. And class C, the default subnet mask of class C is 255.255.255.255.0. If you convert it to binary, you're going to have 111111111. That's what you're supposed to have. If you calculate all those ones, this is
Okay.
8 plus 8 plus 8 is 24. So instead of saying giving IP address, if I see this IP address now, 192.168.1.0, I will know that the subnet mask is 255.255.255.0. But I can just say slash 24, that is prefix length of it, or subnet ID. IT person that sees this will just know that the subnet mask is 255.255.255. If I'm using class B, it is 255.255.0.0. So
That'll be 16.
that will be 16. This one will be 8. So
Yeah.
IT person that will see that will just know. If I do class A slash 8, IT person will know that this is what I meant. If I do slash 16, IT person will know that this is what I meant. Like that. And now we subnetted. We did prefix length as 25. So in that case, oh, I didn't show us that particular one. I'm going to do that in the next video. So I'll be going out. I'll come back again. Remind me of this particular one. So I'm going out. We'll come back again.